Hi guys, I showed you I bought this in a charity shop in Portishead, Children's Hospice Southwest that is, cost me £1. It's battery operated, so let's see if we can replace the batteries. This will be a waterproof compartment because it's a boat that goes in the water. I did a disassembly video of one of these quite a long time ago. Oh, that looks pretty horrible, doesn't it? Okay, I'll clean that up and then we'll see if we can make it work. That's actually cleaned up quite nicely. Just use a wet wipe to get the remains of the batteries out of there. So, 3 AAA batteries. Nothing. Okay. I think I've had deja vu here, seen this before. Nothing happens. I have to take him apart. I was hoping I'd get away without that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. I'm disappointed there. I really hoped that I'd got one that might work this time. There's a bit of electric circuitry in there because the push button, you press it and it runs for, I don't know, a few minutes or something, then it stops again. I guess that's so you don't forget it's turned on. Well, there we are. So we got electric motor in there. That's driving what is it driving? Oh, it's driving this way, isn't it? It's driving this gearbox assembly here. Or should be. So why isn't it working? The gearbox drives these little things up and down. That's what makes him bounce up and down. And it also drives that impeller in there that pumps the water in there and out the back. I can't see any reason why it's not working. Ah, now I can see why it's not working. The motor is absolutely jammed solid. I can't turn that. Okay, well, we'll take that apart and we'll squirt some WD-40 or something in there and see if we can free it up. Looks like it's only a standard little 3-volt motor, or 4.5 volts in this case, 3 AAAs. And there's our little circuit board. As I say, it's got some sort of time delay in it. Can we get the motor out easily? Trouble is, with that glued in place, we probably haven't got any slack. That is completely rusted. I'll see if I can just spray some WD-40 in there, or spray lubricant as they call it. See if we can free it up. I've tried spraying it, and I don't even think we're penetrating here. What I'm going to do is actually take the end off the motor, just easing up the little metal tabs, and see if we can spray directly inside. Leave the brushes behind if we can. There we go. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. There we go. That's got the end of the motor off. And that's absolutely jammed solid in there. Just leave that full of lubricant and see if it'll soak through at all. Just move the brushes out the way so we can see the end of the shaft. I'm working away at it, and I've actually got some movement there now. Only about less than a quarter of a turn, but it is actually moving. So it's slowly easing up, I think. I'll keep spraying the lubricant in it. Oh yes, we're moving. We've got movement. Still a bit stiff. Oh no, that's freeing up nicely now. Having put model boats into seawater and salt water, I know that they very quickly rust up if you don't clean them properly, if you don't run fresh water through them, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's happened here. That it's had a bit of seawater on it, or some sort of bad water, and that really rusted up solid. But that seems to be, yeah, that's freeing up nicely now. Now it's really caked with rust at this end. You can see the end of the shaft is rusty. seems to be okay now. Pop the brushes back on. Separate them up. Okay, so they're on there. There's a little peg just there that hole goes onto, so that's the brushes sit just there. I did it that way round because I wanted to try and get that end off without having to disconnect the wires, because they're all short. Well, as usual, we seem to be one step further forwards and 2 steps back. If I press that little button, nothing's happening. But if I connect a battery direct to the motor, you can hear that's working fine. So I'll have to have a look at this circuit now. I don't think there's much I can do, but we'll have a look. Better just check we're actually getting power out of the battery. A bit more investigation. It looks like this red wire going down to the battery box is possibly disconnected in there. Or it may even be as simple as the metal plate that the battery goes onto there. It is so corroded, it may be the wire has broken off where it's corroded in there. If I bypass it, then you can hear the motor running. But if I bypass it to where it should be, pressing that button still doesn't get it going. That button should trigger the circuitry in there to make the motor run. And it's not the button, because if I short out straight across the button, that's not doing it either. So I'm going to have to do a bit more. But while I've got that out, it might be interesting to look at this little gearbox thing. At the bottom, that's the impeller that pushes the water through. This is the gear that's actually driven by the motor. So if I turn that by hand, you can see the impeller moving at the bottom. You can also see this, we'll call it a plunger for now, going up and down. That's the thing that makes the little fella bounce up and down on his seat. That's driven by a couple of cams on there. And you've got this thing goes up and down as well. So that cam there, as that turns round, pushes that in and out, and that's the bit that blows bubbles into the bubble, or blows air into the bubble making area. So I really would like to try and get this working, but it looks like I've got to try and replace that wire at the very least. But even if I've done that, it does look like this circuit board isn't working anymore. Well, I think I've figured out why the little circuit board's not working. I'm going to have to zoom in on this. I'll put this little piece of paper here. Let's zoom in. I don't know if you can see, but that transistor there has only got one leg. The others have rusted away, because I thought there was a bit of dirt under there. I just poked it with a bit of plastic and the bit of dirt disappeared. We've got a one-legged transistor. I can see it clearer now. So I'll just see if I can get the number off that, see if I've got anything that might match it. Up in my super messy workroom, I took a photo of that transistor and zoomed it in so I could see what it is, and it's an S8550. So we're up in my room looking at my box of transistors. These are ones that I bought in packs, and these are odd ones that for various reasons I've scavenged out of existing circuits. And I've sat here for a few minutes going through them, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's right, I've sorted them, and I couldn't believe it because I just pulled that one out, and that one does say, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, '8550. So we'll see if we can get that one out. It's not going to be that difficult with only one leg still left, but we need to clean out the holes for the other two and see if we can get this one in there and see if that works. I've desoldered the old one, our one-legged transistor. I've got to try and get this one into the same place. Right, well, that's replaced our 8550. Now we've got to replace this wire that appears to be disconnected between there and there. But it's glued in place. I might have to melt it out or something. Well, just temporarily, to check it is actually faulty, that bit of wire, I've soldered another bit of wire. I'm just holding directly onto the battery terminal. Can you hear it? It's working. So that's some sort of timer effect, so we have to wait for it to stop again. Well, I won't bother waiting, but I do know now that I have got to replace that bit of wire. So I'm going to have to get into that bit of glue, dig it out and see what we can do. Trying to dig it out with a screwdriver. Wonder if we can push the metal plate up. Yeah, that's what we're trying to solder onto, that bit at the end. I think I've managed to get that to take some solder. Right, see if we can solder that on there and then push it up through. Okay, that's on there. Right, that's back in place. Nothing. That's because one of those wires have come loose with all that moving around. Yeah, need to resolder that now. And desolder that temporary wire. Okay. I'm going to have to edit a lot of this video, I think. But that's working. I need to fill that hole. I guess I could use hot glue. Hot glue isn't very good for sealing things that are going to get wet, to be honest. It's alright for a while, but then it just needs to give a little bit round the edges and then the water can get in. Well, I suppose I ought to be pleased with myself. Haven't used my hot glue gun for weeks. I used to use it every day. Still, there we go. Hot glue to seal the hole. As I say, hot glue is not a really good seal for waterproof. It does eventually give way between the hot glue and the plastic. So that will leak eventually. But it'll do for now. Okay, all we need to do now is remember how to put it all back together. Right. Well, we need a little screw. Let's go in there. I wonder which one that was. They all look the same to me, which is good, because if they're all the same, it won't matter. Okay, quick press, check it's still working. Yes. So can you remember how many different things I had to repair to get it to work? First was the motor, because that was all seized up and rusted. So we cleared that. Then I realised that the red wire from the battery was dead, wasn't continuous, disconnected. What word would you like to use? Right, all screwed up tight, press it again. Yeah, that's still working. Now we've got this bit. Clearly that goes in there. Okay, now one of these had this type of screw. I'm guessing it might have been here. 1, 2. Oh no, no. Those ones will be on there. So these are just ordinary ones. I always have trouble trying to reach round the camera to do this. I'm trying to give you the best view. Want to go in? Why doesn't that want to go in? It's at an angle, that's why. Need to loosen them again. Shouldn't have done them up so tight. That's better. Okay, now this one goes down there, but we don't want those wires to get crossed, do we? That looks okay. When you want them to be magnetic and stick, they don't want to. No. Right, I have to do something else. Bit of blue tack. So. That's good, it's got them in place. Okay, press the button. Nothing. That's having trouble turning all that. What's the problem there? This is the second reassembly. First time I put it back together, it wouldn't work. And I think it was because I'd put too much hot glue on the end of the wire to seal it, and it made a bit of a bump under there. And it was pressing against the gearbox here, and it just wouldn't turn. So I had to take it apart again reduce the hot glue, and now it's looking right. Right, so now we'll put the lid back on. So that's the air pump that blows air into the bubble mixture to make bubbles out the back. These bits going up and down push his legs up and down, so he bounces up and down, and that bit that just fell out is the start button that pushes against there. So let's see if we can get him back together. It's a bit slower. Well, I'll screw it back together and we'll put it in some water and see if it works. Still seems to be struggling a little bit. I may have tightened something up too much. Let's try that again. Probably put the wrong sort of bubble mixture in there, because that's the wrong sort of bubbles, isn't it? It's not too bad out of the water. But when I put him in the water, the extra load I don't know if I've got any more batteries. I might leave it at that. I mean, it's working, just not very well. I think that'll do for now, because I've spent hours trying to get this thing to work. So if I get some more batteries at some time, then we'll give it a better go. That'll do. That's what he should be doing. I think I just got some rubbish batteries there.